Okay, hi guys and welcome to the show. Today we're going to be doing an episode of wristwatch talk, and of course I have to do my wristwatch check, and I still have the Ripley Seiko here, the Giugiaro Ripley Seiko there, and on this side my beloved mid-size Marathon, which this is a great watch to wear on a second wrist for a second time zone. It's very comfortable, and especially on a NATO strap, and of course Greenwich Mean Time and local time here in New York. So right, so today just a very quick video. I just wanted to do a bit of a follow-up on my recent London video. You guys saw there was a little bit of footage in there of Harrods, so I wanted to discuss that further and share with you a bit of my experience there, because it was quite interesting. Anyway, wristwatch check done. Let's roll the intro and get on with the show. Okay, welcome back guys. Now, as you saw in the London video, I went to Harrods. Now, unfortunately, I was not allowed to film. I tried to film as much as I could before they asked me to stop filming. It was very difficult. I managed to get a few IWCs in, a few Zeniths and Rolex, and of course by the time I got to Lange and Sohne and JLC and the big boys that I really wanted to focus on, they have a really impressive collection. They have all the big brands there. I mean, I got to admit, I'm not a big fan of Harrods. I must be honest. It's become a bit of a tourist attraction, and it's like like this weird kind of luxury Disneyland. It's become, you know, it's so strange. It's not the same Harrods that I remember as a child, or indeed my grandparents and my parents went to. It's a totally different store now. It's like Disneyland, and I haven't been there since I was a child, so it was a bit of a shock. Anyway, but I have to say their watch room as they call it, is very impressive. They have so many great brands there, and it's kind of set up in a bit like a kind of Colosseum, where you have in a circle with all the big brands in their individual rooms set up, and then in the middle is lower down is the kind of not open or kind of display cabinets. Around the edge you have Omega, Rolex, Lange, Sohne, Vacheron Constantin, JLC, all the big players, right? And in the middle then you have the kind of I don't want to say mid-tier, but I would say the kind of I don't want to even say lesser brands, because I hate thinking of brands in that way, but the less exclusive brands, let's put it like that. So in the middle they have Lange, they had Tudor, a fantastic Tudor little display case, which we'll get to in just a moment. Harrods has changed a hell of a lot, but it is worth to go because just of the sheer volume of watches they have on display. It's so full of tourists, it's so overcrowded that it was very difficult to well, first of all, I wasn't allowed to film, which is a real shame. So I very naughty of me, I snuck in some shots for the video. I mean, I had to try, right? It's a shame. They did say, oh, I could take still photography, but at that point my time was so limited, because my wife was in the food court, and she was trying caviar and all the rest of it, which is always fun. I had agreed to meet her in half an hour, so I only had a very quick amount of time, and I figured, you know what, if I'm going to spend the whole time taking pictures, I'm not actually going to enjoy it. So I decided to pick a few brands. I picked 3 brands that I wanted to give more attention: Tudor, Lange and Sohne, and I was going to look at Jaeger-LeCoultre, but I actually ended up looking at more at Zenith, just because the designs really kind of grabbed my attention, you know, to be honest. So it's great for getting that kind of hands-on personal experience. I got to say, the staff there were not the most open and friendly. It took a few. Nobody ever came up and asked me, oh, sir, would you like, It's funny because when we were in the food court, we had these people constantly offering food and talking about the origin of this wine and where this prosciutto has come from, or where they sourced this, and blah blah blah. We must have spent about half an hour previous to me going off on my own to the watch room, discussing different levels of caviar and how it's farmed and all the rest of it, which was fascinating. But I wish I would have had that level of attention and care and customer care in the watch room. It was quite a bit of a disappointment. In fact, at one stage, I was pushed aside by a member of staff trying to get a watch out of a case. And I understand it was an accident, but there was no there's no, oh, sorry sir, or, none of that, which, if you're working for an institution like that, especially that the main deals principally in luxury high-end goods of whatever, it doesn't matter if it's a watch or it's a tin of baked beans or some biscuits or a Rolls Royce. It doesn't matter. That you should still have, I think, be treated with a certain level of respect, so I was a little kind of perturbed by that. And also, nobody ever came and asked me, because in the individual rooms, when I went to Lange and Sohne, there was nobody in there. Everybody obviously was in the Rolex booth or looking at the in the center, looking. Also, there was a discount area, which I'll get into in just a moment. In the Lange and Sohne, it was deadly quiet, and I must have been standing there for a good 5 minutes, really looking at all the watches on display. And then I finally found a beautiful perpetual calendar in solid platinum with a white dial. If I can, I'll try and find a picture to share with you from the internet. And that's the other thing, when you're in the room, pulling out the camera and doing all that, I just seemed a bit kind of bit of bad form on my part, and I was a bit embarrassed. And also, the price tag is right there, and it's like £43,000, and I was like, it's intimidating. That kind of money in a watch is intimidating. But I have to say, the Lange and Sohnes really blew me away. They absolutely impressed me more than any watch I've ever seen. I've got to be honest. Impressed me more than the Blanc Pain that I've had experience. And I did try on, rather reluctantly, I must admit. And I got to say, the whole experience went past so quick. I didn't really get to feel the watch. It's a 38mm watch, really beautiful size, perfect for me. The only thing is the price. I mean, when on earth am I ever gonna? It's not that the goal is not attainable. If I really worked hard and put my mind to it, of course anybody can. If you really want something in life, you can go out and achieve it, and I can get that watch if I really want to. I mean, I'll have to work my butt off, to put it politely, for a very long time before I have that amount of disposable income to set aside onto a watch. But it's not getting the money that's the issue. It's more about, well, for 43 grand, I'd rather buy an apartment in Barcelona on the beach, because I know that when I was living there, I was looking at apartments for 30-40 grand. A little, not, you'd have to do it up, obviously, but you're paying for the location, really. You walk downstairs, you have tapas, and literally, I mean literally a stone's throw away is the beach, one of the best beaches in the world. So for me to spend that kind of money on a watch, which I've got to say blew everything out of the water. I mean, the elegance and sophistication and quality and beauty in that design just blew everything out of the water. I almost think I'm almost thinking at this stage, I'm just happy to have my sports watches, and then, you know, in a couple of years' time, try and go. If you're gonna do horology, if you're gonna go horology, you might as well go all the way and get the absolute best, right? So I probably won't ever have. Well, I'd never say never, but you know, my dream would be to have a Lange and Sohne. It's just the money issue. It's such a lot of money. There's a million things I'd rather buy or invest that money in before I ever got there. While it was a beautiful experience, and when I had it on my wrist, a part of me was thinking, my God, you know, I've got a price of a house. You know, you can buy a house somewhere with this kind of money, and it seemed a bit of a joke. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you know, do I really need to spend that kind of money on a watch? I mean, it is beautiful. And I just felt so conflicted, and it hasn't really, it's kind of confused me, and the whole Grail watch situation, you know, I almost think spending that kind of money is on a watch is almost vulgar. I know it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing, but, you know, that kind of money is just a little bit ridiculous, and it just made all the kind of other watches there kind of a bit obsolete, especially the horology. Obviously the reversos, the JLCs and all the rest of it, and the beautiful Zenith tourbillon I saw was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Zenith is a brand that, you know, I've kind of overlooked a little bit. I mean, they have some gorgeous vintage pieces. Of course, they didn't have them there, but I almost prefer their vintage pieces to their new ones. But the new ones were very impressive. So after that kind of experience, I almost was a bit kind of disgusted with the whole super high-end stuff. And I went back to the middle area, the middle section, and I looked at Tudor. And I think Tudor had probably the best kind of attainable luxury range of watches there. And believe it or not, I saw the Black Bay, the black one with the gold gilded hands and applied markers, and it's so funny, I've kind of dismissed it because red one is gorgeous, the blue Black Bay is gorgeous, and I kind of dismissed this new version. Oh, well, what's new about it? It's black bezel and dial with some gold gilded hands. You know, I thought it can't be anything special, but actually when you see it in the flesh, it's really nice. My only issue with the Black Bay, it is a bit chunky. Had it been a little bit not as tall, I'm fine with the diameter, but if it was a little bit, it's chunky like this. But the thing is this is a mid-size, this is small, and also it's part of its design, whereas the Black Bay feels a bit chunky for no particular reason. I can't really explain it. It's just wish it was a little bit slimmer, that's all. And in a way it's a good thing it's not slimmer, because then I'd have to buy it, you know. But that was a pleasant surprise. I kind of dismissed it. Oh, it's just a different colour with some different colour hands or whatever, and it's not actually. I must admit, it's almost nicer than the blue and the red one. I was very surprised about that. Longines had a beautiful little selection there. They had, I think it's the Legend diver, I might be wrong about that, the one with the inner rotating bezel. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous watch. It looks just as gorgeous in real life as it does on the internet. Really beautiful watch. I think Longines is really overlooked too. So lastly, I think the highlight definitely of my visit to Harrods was the discount section. Now if you go to Harrods, if you walk around the centre section, next door to the Tudor display cabinet is a sales or discount section, and they have everything. They had a fantastic array of Breitlings, Omega, Planet Oceans, all in there, and very competitively priced. I was quite impressed. I couldn't believe some of the prices. They actually had a Breitling in there was a gold Navitimer with a black dial, which, you know, normally I'd dismiss as kind of flashy, but actually it was quite stunning. And it was very competitively priced. I can't remember exact price, but I remember thinking, wow, that, you know, it was only a couple of grand more than what I paid for my Navitimer. So I was very impressed. There is a catch, however, with the discount section. They are not refundable, which I thought, few of you out there who do work in retail, perhaps you can enlighten us in the comments why businesses do that. Obviously, if you spot a bargain, you look at the watch, and if you pull the trigger on it, you cannot get it. Once transaction is complete, there's no, you know, you can't go back. So there is a bit of a gamble, but the prices are impeccable. A lot of them are ex-display models, I think, so you can get a really good deal at Harrods, which I never thought I'd say this, but you can get a bargain at Harrods, which is pretty cool. So I didn't see any Rolexes in there. I might be wrong, but I don't think they partake in this discount section. They're all lumped together, so you get, you know, you got Omegas and Breitlings and Longines, and I think there was a JLC in there as well. I forget what else. It was mostly Breitlings and Omegas. There's a Tudor in there as well. I've got to say, as soon as I'd done in the watch room, there's so many people there. I was exhausted. I was, you know, I wanted to go home. You know, quite amazing how different the store has become over time. And in actually later on we went to Fortnum and Mason, and it was a breath of fresh air, because Fortnum and Mason hasn't changed. It's actually even older. It's a far more prestigious store, and I've done videos last year when I was there, so have a look. For luxury goods, food, luxury foods, that kind of stuff, Fortnum and Masons are the absolute best. There's no doubt about it. It's a family tradition that we've been always going there for hundreds of years. Established in the 1700s, it's far older and more prestigious than Harrods will ever be. But because Harrods has that tourist attraction, it's quite funny. But just to show you something that's quite amusing, earlier I was brushing my shoes, ready to go to work, and I've never noticed this, but this is actually a Harrods brush, shoe brush. This is my grandfather's, and you know, I use this every day to you know, polish my shoes, and that's what my grandparents would go in there for. Not this fancy, you know, not buying a Rolls or some Tiffany earrings or whatever. You know, of course they have that, but back in the day it was very much just a regular, not a regular store, but you know, because you could still get high-end goods. Quite funny that I should stumble on that this morning, but it's funny how things change, and it's the nature of luxury branding, and you know, I understand it. I understand. But if you go to London and you want to experience very high-end, sophisticated, traditional British luxury goods, you go to Fortnum and Mason. It's, in my opinion, is the absolute best. Now, they don't have a watch room like Harrods. If you do go to Harrods, the watch room is worth it. You can get some good bargains, and you can get some good deals there, quite surprisingly. And actually, also, it's a good way of kind of trying on watches that maybe you want to buy, you know, further down the line, or you want to set as your grail watch and you want to save towards. Anyway guys, so I thought I'd share my little experience at Harrods with you. If you have some watch stores that you really recommend in London or here in New York, or perhaps where you live, hopefully one day I can make it over there and visit it as well. Please share down below in the comments. Also, if you had experiences at Harrods or anywhere in London, please share those. Always dying to hear from you guys. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. There's so much to come. I've got so many new watches. It's ridiculous. I could have done 3 unboxings today, but then it would be the unboxing gentry, you know, and I don't want it to become that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there before I go on a ramble. As you can tell, my throat still isn't 100%, but I'm getting there. Okay, guys, so I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, found it useful, and I'll definitely catch you in the next one. Okay, guys, ciao.